Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. We're on Tough Jungle today. We have a 4v4. I'm playing the same team as South Africa Enjoyer, also known as Wonton, Blind Bandit, also known as Rara, and Call39, who was the only person random in this fight, as the rest of us were on the Discord. And if you want to be part of those games, the Discord link is usually in the description. I do hope you do the whole like, share, subscribe, and all that YouTuber nonsense that's, well... Anyway, so I like to fight in Fox, and that's where I'm going. I'm playing as Landjut Mechanized today, and I'm already calling out some infantry reinforcements. My plan is to try to get as much control of the forest between Fox and Delta as possible. I tend to find that it's really crucial to have control of that, one, for offense into Delta, and then two, for defense, to make sure that India and Juliet don't get threatened. If you lose this section of the Red Force out of the map, that's 2+2 zones that are just in very severe danger. Plus, you have to remember, Delta is a reinforcement zone to the Red Force side of the field, so if they get that, I mean, that's just, it's right through, and they can call in stuff right there, and actually you're the one with a longer reinforcing lane into that fight. So it's a little bit of one of those, just those oddities about this map. Now, on my left-hand side, South Africa Enjoyer, playing as, I believe, either USA or NORAD, is getting really aggressive with a couple of DAPs and a longbow, hoping to, well, attack in, it looks like, against Gatsu and Viet Cong and Infinite, who are on the other side, along with the second lieutenant, Han De Han. Now, this was, sort of, I mean, it's a bit of a challenge, right? So the longbow's pulling back, the DAP's pulling back, one of them was lost. We spot a couple of tours from Viet Cong in the woods, and these are very high performance, I mean, mostly anti-helicopter, but also anti-plane units, and I personally really like them on USSR as well. I think they're very nice. Even if they're not as specialized for anti-airplane as, say, something like a book. Now, our initial deployment I don't think goes all that well, so we have a lot of people going up and in to Charlie and Echo, but, I mean, you can see there's a lot of pressure here and a lot of unknown here on this side of the map. I'm actually losing some things to a K-52, which, this was interesting. You don't normally think of K-52s as killing infantry in the woods, but it actually does have good enough optics, with exceptional optics, to spot my Spetsdern, despite their own very good stealth, and take them out. So I lost that section of woods. I'm sitting there going, oh shoot, that's going to be really bad. Most of my other stuff, as I am mechanized deck, is really slow, and so you can see Han De Han here has gotten into Foxtrot before I did, and most of my M41A1s are actually running out of gas. But really, that's not the worst thing. They're not really there to be speedy and to get all the way down and through. They're just to get, well, cheap kills if I can, to get me some vision, to get me some supporting fire, everything like that. And you can see I'm spreading them out just to make sure they don't all go to the same place and get shot all at the same time, and then hopefully they'll be able to spot a couple of things from my Leopard 2A1s, two 100-point tanks here, and this is a little bit risky because if the Red 4 player had ATGMs in this town, it can end up really poorly for you. You can see BTR-90s back here. Here comes an ATGM. But let's see what happens. Yeah, good contact, 3 points of damage onto my Leopard 2A1, but I have my whole ball of infantry here, and yeah, it's a little bit clustered up. This is not exactly my cleanest deployment ever. I tend to struggle with mechanized just because of the numbers of units, particularly at the start, too, because it's like, you get in, you really have to do all that stuff really fast. It's kind of a pain. SU-27M call from Han De Han. This is a 200-point plane. It really needs to get its value back, and let's see what it hits. M41A1. Second M41A1 actually survives, and we get a couple little bits of chip damage on that 27M, actually taking him down to 4 strength before he gets out. So I think that's probably okay for me right now. It gives me more time to get things moving up and in. Of course, I do have some recon headed over to the left side because I don't want to let Han De Han around my left-hand side, but you can see one thing I really did mess up on was not getting enough over on my right, just as recon, stopping forces, making sure he doesn't flank around my right-hand side. That will come back to bite us later. Spoilers, I guess, there. But most of my focus right now is on the infantry fight. And even that, I mean, my boxes are up in front of my infantry, which is not what you want to see. But I do have Heimat Shoots and Dragoner. My Martyr 2s are back here waiting to find something that they can really sink their teeth into with those RH-503 guns that are just so brutally effective. And as long as I keep those guys alive and able to do some sort of punch, I mean, it's a Soviet deck, woods fighting. I'm expecting to see some Sapri, I'm expecting to see some BTRTs. My goal is to use the Martyr 2s and the hard-hitting Panzerfaust 3s off the Panzergren 90 to get rid of those threats. In fact, here are the Sapri right now. We'll have to see how that goes. Now, meanwhile, over on the left-hand side, actually a really nice spread out here from Call39, Falskermjaeger into the woods, trying to make sure that he has a nice, solid defensive hotel and push into Golf. It's a bit slower than you usually see going into Golf, but honestly, I like it because so many times I've taken that early combat in Golf and gotten pushed back, and it just doesn't end up too well. So, a couple of Book M1s, these are the same two from Viet Cong. Well, actually, no, he had the the Tours and now double book M1. Wow. Expecting a lot of plane play, I guess, but yeah, those were spotted, marked, just trying to let my teammates know, you know, there's heavy anti-air here, be a little careful. You can see we do get the engagement that I want there with the Panzergrenadier and the Martyr 2s, forcing the BTRTs back, getting one of them, and then let's see what we can do on this side. Yeah, I think there was a second one was killed right there. And the, of course, the Martyr 2s will just destroy Sabri, Monostrelki, things like that. You can see Honda Hun, oh yeah, here it is. Second one was retreating back, I'm pathing forward with the Panzergren, and then the Panzerfaust 3 takes him out. Very nice. Very happy with that, and then I have to quickly retreat out of those Spetsnaz grooves. So, a little bit of give and take there in that engagement, but I think overall we got a little bit of an advantage, and the Jalo over on the right, at the time I didn't see that. But what I do notice is that my Heimat Schützen are damaged, and there were no helicopters over here, there was no mortar fire, that means there's something over on that side, and I will be attempting to respond to it as quickly as I can. In the meantime, Blind Bandit, also known as Rara, is, I mean, he's mostly, it looks like, just in India trying to support on other flanks, and he actually does start sending things in over to my side as well, as it looks like getting 1-2 Beacon 1Cs up. Now, these guys, yeah, I think these are the premier ones. The 1A is a little bit worse. The Beacon 1Cs are just truly monsters, so wherever he's shooting in for that, it is going to take a lot of damage. But this thing, I mean, it's getting a little bit worrisome here. Infinite and Gatsu working together to push through against South Africa, Enjoyer, and Call 39 over into the section of town, and we don't really have a hold here as well. So if we had, what would be happening right now is you'd have long-range guns firing from this section of town in, something like recoilless rifle teams, things like that, would be able to make that sort of range, and all of the infantry that's poking its head out would be getting absolutely pounded. Now, the closer range version of this with the M8 AGSs is working pretty well, but they are taking a little bit of return fire, so it's a bit of give and take there, and I don't know, this was interesting, because it looks like the Red 4 team actually didn't go to contest golf. And just, you know, telling you my own expectation at this point in time, you know, when I looked over and I saw early that golf wasn't capped, I was sitting there going, okay, well, now we have to win on this side because we've lost the one on the left-hand side, and that doesn't really appear to be true. So, really just goes to show there's lots of ways to approach this game. And so on this side, my Leopard 2A1s have been moving up. I've gotten some more reinforcements back here, and a couple of Leopard 1A4s. I like these guys. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, but I tend to find they do very well in a supporting role against infantry and against light infantry fighting vehicles and armored personnel carriers, things like that. We also do have Dragoner getting through and some Deckensgruppe getting through on this side. A couple of nice kills there. I think we actually took out some transports with VDV-90 in them, which is very nice. The Dragoner can also kill those damaged VDV-90, but I'm trying to get to the woods first, because if he gets his guns online, that's a different story. However, I like exploiting with these guys. They're just 10 points, but the MG3 fights so very well. It really is very satisfying. So, the Leopard, I see a T-72 OBR, and I didn't realize until just then that it was down to 2 strength. And you can see I stop retreating and I go up because I want that kill, but I'm a little bit too late to get it, as that T-72 OBR does get into the woods. My Spetsnaz moving up trying to spot things, and I'm a little light on infantry. So, really brutally atrocious fight over on this side of the map. And I was definitely feeling it, so there's a constant stream, or at least it should have been, of reinforcements up and in, but I'm also trying to get a command vehicle in because Blind Bandit's Strip EV-90 is armored. So the idea was, we both send that in, we get mine to cap in Foxtrot, and his will push up with me into Delta, because if we can decap their land spawn on this side, that gets us a huge advantage fighting for that side zone that's usually just a very, very, very contentious fight, and today is no different. Side note, one of the first times I ever played on this map was, M84 AK command vehicle right there, by the way, and spotted. But one of the first times I ever played on this map, I played where Han is playing right now, and I lost the zone so hard, it was incredible. I think I was actually flamed out by the rest of the lobby. Now, at the time, I had maybe 80, 90 games in, and I just did not know how to do any of this combat. So we are responding over on the right. There's Jalo fighting with my M41A1 and does get the kill, which is a little bit sad, but I have enough stuff over here. The problem is the Jalo is a lot faster, and so I know it's a controversial unit because it doesn't really have good armor piercing. It seems like one of those where you can get good returns. It just has to be in the right position at the right time. Otherwise, things like, I mean, the Leopard 1A1 there, same price, but I get optics, and he did win the duel. So, I don't know, I mean, comparative value in a fight, but just less mobility, better spotting, I don't know, it's a complicated thing. So, on this side I have 2 automatics, I have 1A4s, I have 2A1s, I have more infantry and boxes moving up, and my hope is to just break through on this side, kill the BTRTs, kill the BTR-70s, see what I can do for just getting into Delta, and getting that +1 zone. Now, we haven't capped India, and that's actually a bit of a problem, because you can see the Red 4 team is now taking +1, despite, you know, our hold on the left side in Golf, despite the contested hold in Echo, M84AK getting spotted and taken out by Blind Bandit's MLU. Now, I will ask him about this as well, because it seems like, well, actually, it seems like a command tank is probably one of the few times you can guarantee a good return on investment for something like that, as the MLU did get taken out and is dropping out of the sky here. If you're going to make it a one-way trip, you have to look for equivalent value, and that 160-point plane, it's hard to really do something like that with. Now, my 2A1's getting a little bit crazy here, but I was hoping for the BTRT kill, and I was hoping that my Heimat Schützen and Dragoner would be able to fend this off just long enough. Let's see if we can get the second shot. There it is. That's the shot and the kill, and we might even be able to tag a BTR-70 back here. There's a nice firing lane right down this section, because this section of trees here is relatively thin, this section of trees is relatively thin, and so if you get kind of up to about the corner, you can shoot in all the way to back there, assuming you have the recon. And my Spez drone are doing some of that job for me, although not a ton. And you can see now I'm trying to respond on the right hand side, but a bit of a mistake, so Spetsnaz grew getting through my M4-101 shooting, but at the time I didn't see this, and so Blind Bandit's pings there go unanswered because I was too focused on the fighting up at the front. Scout Defender also up here should have had the tools to take out the Spetsnaz crew, but just didn't because I wasn't looking. And that is a really, really big problem, because as soon as those guys get into the town, here comes the launcher online, and dead CV. Nice kill there to my opponent, and very, very much nearly a decaf on Foxtrot, right? So if he had killed the BV-90 from Blind Bandit, we would have been set back a bit farther, and, I mean, goodness gracious. So immediate response now is going to be the MD Jupiters and the Martyr 1s going over this side, trying to figure out what went wrong, as we are handling BMPTs now getting a little bit more problematic, as they're engaging on the right-hand side where I really don't have much. Nice shift. So oftentimes you get tunnel vision in a match. You can kind of see that in my replays as well, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but if you're really fighting over one lane and one lane only, things can happen right next to it, and you just don't see that perspective, and you don't really know what you're looking for there. Also, a ton of pings. Yeah, this is my ally saying, really, no, handle this right now, please. My Deccan's group and the Martyr 1's actually getting taken out as well. Just really sloppy play. Really nice use of Spetsnaz Gru from Han to Han. Yeah, not happy about that at all. It actually answered how he was firing at my mortars too, because I was like, wait, I haven't fired these in a little while. How is he spotting these? Yeah, Spetsnaz Gru in the back lane. So the automatics are moving up. Leopard 1A4 is going up as well. We did handle, I think, or we're about to, some of the BTRTs and other units on that side. These guys fight well in the woods for the price, as long as nothing has good armor piercing. So you can see, against base Motostrelki, they actually got some pretty nice shots in pretty quickly, but we did take a little bit of a beating too, and that is going to get pretty bad if we get stunned, because now the Motostrelki have the initiative, and they have better spotting in woods compared to 1A4. So got the first kill, should have retreated out and then come back in, and I didn't, and that's going to mean that I'm presenting my rear armor to one of these guys, if not both, and that's going to be the end of a 1A4. So really just don't send those guys in alone. What happened to me will happen to you, and you won't really enjoy it. So on this side, South Africa Enjoyer and Call 39 have been fighting really well here. I mean, we have a nice hold on Golf. We have at least not lost this section. You can see now they have done exactly what I said earlier with the RBS-56, with Stormer, with just lots and lots of infantry. You have to be a little bit worried now about bombing runs, about things like the Prom S's shooting in, but against infantry in towns, it really won't be all that devastating. Just have like a resupply truck here or two, and make sure that nothing gets caught out in the open that you think is in a town and isn't, and then get spotted by an Mi-17. So, I mean, just brutally effective, brutally cost-effective helicopters. Now, not a lot of action in Delta Echo on the right-hand side, again, as most of that fighting is still over here, and it looks like, I think Blind was mostly helping, well, I guess holding an Echo and then helping out on this side as well. So, really just not the combat where you usually see it on this map. I usually see fights over Echo, I usually see fights sort of in these lanes here, and some of that is going on. So we have Nordland's Jägeri and Jägeri 90 that are trying to shoot that gap, but no tank heavier than a 103D, which actually, this is interesting. This guy is in the trees, but he's spotted, which means that the Red 4 team has something up there that is capable of doing that, and it's going to be the Razvedka right there in that position that I was unable to take. So nice play from Han to Han, getting just good recon everywhere that he possibly can. So LBR 1987 spotted up here, and my Leopard 1A4s are on the case. 1, 2, 3 shots, and with a high rate of fire in the close-in armor pen going up, we actually get a pretty good kill there. So the 1A4's 1, 2, 3 shots, followed up by the 2A1, taking out about 140, I think, point tank on that side is, I mean, it's very nice. We're actually going to be starting to draw over other players on the Red 4 side as the situation sort of turns critical. So OBR 1989 from Gatsu had been fighting over on the left-hand side, and I'm a little scared of this because, I mean, pound for pound, you can kill the 2A1, it just depends on who shoots first, and my Leopard 2A1's distracted with some BMD2s over on the other side, so it's not a clean engagement. There's also a second one up here, and that's nothing I really want to deal with, even with now my second 2A1 getting up and into this engagement. And we hit him for 1 point of strength, he hit us, actually he missed, oh goodness. Red 4 tanks, man, that's just, yeah. 2 shots, 2 misses. Man, that really could have been a better engagement for the OBR 1989 than it was, and it's just sometimes the dice roll doesn't go your way. So, that first one that, well, I guess the second one that wasn't as damage coming up again, 0 for 3 at Calm. Don't see that every day. And we actually land in 5, he takes out the 1A4. Yeah, I mean, this is why the 1A4s were there. They get good kills when they're able, and they draw fire for the 2A1s when they're not. Unfortunately, it is a little bit expensive to do that. It means 40 points apiece. It can be a tad rough. So, at this point in time, I've gotten, I believe, another command infantry on the way. Yeah, it's here now in Foxtrot, just sort of farther up, because I didn't want to attract another flank, and I wanted to sort of guard against that, even though I don't really have all that much in the center here. I was decently confident that we cleared this side, at least, enough for right now, and I was really running low on units, too. So you can see the automatic, the Martyr 2, not a lot of infantry up here. I'm trying to buy more and more and more, but mechanized speed is very, very slow. It's one of the big advantages that we'd have if we could take this zone, as Honda Hun's called in the T80UM, and I have no defense against that. I actually lost a 2A1 to it. Its first shot just taking him right out, and some VDV-90 flanking around to get my Martyr 2, forcing the automatic to retreat, forcing the rest of the stuff to retreat. My Leopard 2A1, which had been coming back this way, is now going to have to go out and to the right. And you can see I think I told my team at the moment in chat, yeah, I'm pulling out of here, the Delta offensive has failed, and that was just in time for the Strip BV-90 to start coming up here and make his move, so it really couldn't have come at a worse time for us in this match. He was really hoping to get that cap. But, I mean, Blind Bandit isn't giving up. He's telling me not to give up. We are getting some reinforcements over. And then South Africa Enjoyer with the surprise plot twist AH-1S Cobra spam. I mean, FFAR rockets, Hydra rockets, twin miniguns, and just lots of things. He does actually find the Razvedka and takes them out, which should immediately unspot the 103D as long as he's not shooting. And then, yeah, you can see Blind's telling me, yeah, keep this up here because there's a strip BV, there's the counter cap, and now Red 4 has to reinforce in from Bravo, not from Delta, which is a big, big problem for them, although Hun is, once again, flanking, and it can be very, very sad. So, automatic moving up this way, Leopard 2A1 coming up to the right along with Spedster, and this is in response to seeing that Red 4 unit on the right and wanting to not have that get around and cause problems farther back in Foxtrot that I have to deal with later. And, I mean, the automatic's good fire support if it has something in front of it, so I'm just sending him with the Spedster and just saying, hey, you know, anything that kills the Spedster, just see if we can get kills with it, on it with the automatic. Also a nice engagement there, taking out some things with the 2A1. But, yeah, plot twist, infantry, so not too thrilled. But base Monostrelki will struggle against that much armor. So, at this point, pretty much the whole fight has converged on the right-hand side. Now you see Hun and Gatsu's unit over here, and supported by things in the air, and then Viet Cong having a couple units as well. And unfortunately, there's the spot on the Red 4 command infantry, which is trying to get out of the way, and actually gets a little lucky with the scout defenders not having anything left to hit it. But every second that it's no longer capped, we can call things in. So the NM-135s from Blind Bandit should reinforce right in as long as you have control of the zone when you place it down. There they go. So you can see these guys, they're 10 points autocannons, not a lot of armor, but that's really not what you're buying it for. You're buying it to start attacking this backside of the zone. You see T-72 OBR 1989s, and I think this is probably one of the meanest things I've ever done to tanks that's about to happen to these guys. Just not quite at the moment, so we'll return to that. And now there's a bunch of pressure also on the left-hand side as Blind, South Africa Enjoyer, and Call 39 are trying to make sure that the Red 4 team can't respond in force to everything over here. So they're pushing up a little bit into the woods, trying to get a little bit more movement there than we had previously. And let's see, the OBRs, yeah, okay. This is the thing. So they're shooting in at the NM-135s. That means for right now, their facing is a little weird. So you can see front armor here, front armor, I guess it's where they're driving, yeah, that's not too crazy. And my 2A1 is coming up right to here. My goal is shoot in from this side of the 2A1, and shoot in from the perpendicular with the automatic. So let's see. Yep, he's facing my 2A1, and in a vacuum, the OBR 1989 will win. But we get the first shot, he gets the second shot. You can see he does do a little bit better there, although I think actually we would have been able... Oof, got a little lucky that he missed. There's the automatic with one tank kill, now shooting into the other one, pounding into frontal armor as my other 2A1 gets a beautiful shot in here in just a second. There it is, side armor. There you go, dead tank, that's the surrender, and that's going to be the game. So, very well played to my allies and my opponents here in this match here on Tough Jungle. I mean, honestly, I love this map sometimes. It can be the best and the worst. Let's take a look in at some of the MVP units. And I gotta say, the automatic, even though it did die, is going to have to be one of them. So 60, 85 kills to 55, 65 losses, pretty close for a 4v4. And let's see, M41A1's killing a Jalo and BTR70s. I mean, yeah, not a lot of armor, not a lot of AP on the Jalos there. But Panzergren 90 did pretty well. Martyr 2s did pretty well. And this is the automatic. So we got a 27M. This is when I was showing you guys the left-hand side of the field, but we did take down that 200-point plane with both the automatics and a KA-52, which the KA-52, I mean, that has anti-radar, that has seed missiles to take out the automatic, but you just turn off the gun, you let the KA-52 get close, turn it back on, get your kill, there you go. Of course, you know, everything's easy in theory when you say it like that. Leopard 2A1 taking out an OBR, couldn't be happier. And then finally, that's going to be the automatic with an OBR 1989 kill, completing our MVPs of the day. So that's all I've got for you guys. Thank you all for hanging around. We'll see you again real soon.